All right, this week for the icebreaker, I have one for you. I think it's related to our topic this week. Would you rather be the star player for a team that always loses, or notoriously ride the bench needlessly for a team that always wins? That's my question to you. So would you rather be the star player for a team that always loses, or riding the bench for a team that always wins?
That's a no-win scenario.
I know. And we'll be back with that at the end. Your local video store card.
A comic book in your back pocket.
Games with no tutorials.
Music you had to discover.
And drinking water straight from the hose.
These are the things us millennials remember fondly. We are the Jennings brothers.
Join us after the streetlights come on
as we race our bikes from the top of the hill
right down memory lane.
Exchange those quarters, because this podcast takes tokens.
I will never, ever cut an episode. Those that come out to listen to us, when you put on this podcast that takes tokens, even if it's a work, we will be perfect in every aspect of the podcast. You download an episode, you're in for an hour. You miss an episode, we'll hold it for you. You fumble your phone and break it under the foot on the John Brown Highway, it's on the cloud, or in the cloud. Perfection. Let's get started. Today, we're talking about Remember the Titans, a Disney film from 2000 that grossed $115.7 million on a $30 million budget. This was close to being in our Blockbuster Summer Rewind. It was actually going to be our last one, but we realized it was actually released on October 1st, and it didn't come out in summer, so it didn't count. And we scrambled, no pun intended, trying to find another football movie to cap off our Blockbuster Summer Rewind, because we thought it would be a nice segue into talking about the NFL football season coming up, and, well, we couldn't find one. So
it seems like they were all... Most football movies released in the fall, and I guess it's just because football's popular then. And so
I think the only summer one we found was The Longest Yard, and we were both like, we'll watch it, but it's not ideal.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it was a blockbuster. It may have been. I don't remember exactly.
Well, this definitely was. I didn't realize it made that much money. And I didn't realize came out in 2000. I thought it was like a 98 or 99 movie, which I guess
came
isn't
out in
that
2000.
far off, but
So, my first time watching the movie.
Yeah, your first time watching it. Yeah.
When was the first time you watched this movie?
Oh my gosh. Probably back in 2000. Yeah. It was a movie I watched quite a bit. I think it was one of the first DVDs No, because I just bought the DVD. Maybe I had it on VHS or something like that. I remember
you could have had it on DVD and lost
home.
it.
That could be. Yeah.
Yeah. You watched it at home?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Watched it quite a bit. It was like almost a weekly staple there for a while.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you were probably, 8th grade when this came out?
Yeah, I was in middle school. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. Yeah, I see this one, for me, there's a lot of football movies that came out this time, high school football movies. And watching this movie, I was, other than the time period, I suppose, although where it was set, the time period is very similar, and the undertones are a little similar. But I was reminded of Varsity Blues watching this movie. It had a lot of the same steps.
I've not seen Varsity Blues.
Oh, really?
Or not. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there was a lot of... and Varsity Blues came out in 99, I believe. Okay. There was a couple lines specifically where in the beginning there's that narration she says football is a way of life. That was actually, that was a quote in Varsity Blues as well. Like the opening monologue, like they had an opening narration exactly like this. One of the main characters narrating over the top, you know, introducing the movie, talking about football in West Texas, how football is a way of life and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. Or there was a scene where they're playing a team and the team's playing really rough. And so, like, to teach the team that keeps rushing them a lesson, the quarterback's like, go ahead and let him through. So he hikes the ball. They let the guy through, and he throws the ball and, like, hits the guy, like, right in the head or something like that, and knocks him back and just kind of, like, stuns him. But, yeah, there was a couple beats like that where I was like, oh, this is very similar. And I looked at when they came out, and I was like, they came out very close in time. I don't know if that was... I can't imagine it was intentional, especially since this is supposed to be based on like based on true events. So I wonder if maybe because I'm sure it was like a book before or something like that. So I wonder if maybe whoever wrote Varsity Blues was informed by this movie or this story in some ways. But I thought I found that interesting because whenever Varsity Blues came out in '99, I was a junior in high school, and no, I was a senior. 99, fall of 99, I was a senior. So that was like a movie that we watched a lot.
Oh yeah.
And so I know that movie fairly well. And again, like watching this one, I was like, it was interesting to see those parallels. But you know, maybe it's just, I mean, football is a way of life. It's kind of a saying amongst the football community, so maybe that's all it is there's just like a through vein of football here.
Yeah, and you know, I think like other sports movies, that's kind of a trope that they have. Like you remember the Sandlot? Yeah. There was like the monologue that Smalls was giving as an adult, and for Benny, baseball was life,
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like just a lot of don't they do something like that in Field of Dreams too? I
have not seen Field of Dreams.
Oh, okay.
That's on my list. That's on our list because I want to watch that one.
Well, we'll have to throw Varsity Blues on there too. I need to watch that. But yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like it's kind of something that's just in every sports movie.
Okay.
Show how much the characters love this sport, it's life. So
I don't know. For me, video gaming is life.
Yes, that's what we need. That's what we need.
That's right.
Yeah, I forgot this movie was based on a true story. Because it had been a while since I'd seen it, and I put it back on, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, I like that. I like the movies that are based on a true story, and I especially like it where they start rolling the credits, and then they'll either show the actual person and like kind of talk about them a little bit, or they'll show the actor kind of doing something B-roll arbitrary, and then they'll do the text overlay with like, oh, this is what happened with the character going down the line and everything, so on and so forth. How their life developed or whatever. And I always like that in a based on a true story film. That's I guess a trope that I enjoy very much. So
well, they did it with this one too. Like you're watching everything and it's just kind of fun to see what happened to everybody and. Not in the case of Gary. That kind of sucked.
I was watching something on this, and they were talking about how, obviously the movie takes some liberties with the true story and everything, but he actually played the regular season and played in the playoffs. In the championship with them and everything, and the accident didn't happen until after the season was over.
Yeah, I had that in my notes.
Which was nice.
He did get to play. Yeah, and they, of course, in the movie they have him get what it's like. They have like one game left or something, and he gets in the accident. But I was also reading that because I did look him up. I'm sure you did. Too, obviously. I was also reading. Did you know he was the nephew of NFL running back and defensive back Howie Livingston?
Oh, really?
Which, Yeah. He's a nephew of him. I guess I looked it up. He played for the Giants, the Redskins, 49ers, and the Bears.
He was All-American. He had football in his blood.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So what else did you come up with in your research on this character? Anything else?
Well, I don't think I did write down on there that he was killed by a drunk driver in 81, and then I saw in the end credits it says that. So okay, well, yeah. Was he in the Special Olympics? I know he talks about it in
the Paralympics, I believe is what it's called.
Paralympics, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, and I think he helped. It said that he helped a lot of other athletes go on to compete in the Paralympics, helped them with training and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He was a fun character, played by one of my favorite actors, Ryan Hurst, phenomenal actor. He was Opie from
he was
Sons
great
of
in
Anarchy.
Sons. He was so good in Sons. Yes.
Oh, so sad when he died.
I know.
And Beta from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Milligan from the Mysterious Benedict Society. You ever watch that one? That was kind of a recent one. It was a kid's show on, I think Disney Plus did it.
Okay.
Or maybe it was either Disney or Hulu, one of the two of them. But it was a fun little what is it called again? What's his name? Wes Anderson. It was kind of that aesthetic, that Wes Anderson aesthetic, and there's this whole mysterious society for to lean into the title a little bit, and these kids are trying to figure out what's going on with them and everything, and then Tony Hale's in it, and he plays a pair of twins, and one of them's good and one of them's kind of bad. And it was a lot of fun. Me and the kids had a lot of fun watching it, and then they canceled it, so it only ran for 2 or 3 seasons. But he was good. But yeah, I've always enjoyed it. Anytime I see him coming up in something or in something, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy that. Cause he's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of good up and coming actors in this movie. Yeah.
Ryan Gosling. I think this was one of his first one.
Yeah. Donald Faison, Ethan Suplee, Hayden Panettiere, Kate Bosworth. Lots of good actors in this movie coming up.
Yeah. I did on the rewatch. I did not care for Hayden Panettiere's care for Cheryl.
Really?
Much. I thought she was just I thought it was a little bit exaggerated. I don't know.
I know whenever I was watching some of the compared to real life stuff, they were saying that character had nothing to do with football games. She wasn't into football at all.
Really?
She wasn't at the games like that or anything. So I feel like that was a Disney thing of, we need a precocious child in here to connect with the younger audiences and to keep the kids engaged whenever they're there with their parents, type of thing. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. She was a little spitfire. I like that type of kid actor in those types of roles. It was a bit over the top, but it wasn't poorly over the top. And I think that's an important distinction, because sometimes you get those kid actors that go over the top, but their tone doesn't match. And I felt like her tone matched well enough that her being over the top it worked. I thought.
And so I don't want to say that I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't like her.
No, it's fine.
No, it wasn't that I didn't like her as an actress. It was just the character. I just felt was a little bit unrealistic for me. I could see a kid really being into football, but she was when she's talking to those
and stuff.
And when she's talking to those guys at that. I can't remember what it was. It was a bunch of adults around, and she's like, and we dropped back and we did this, and she's going in, and I'm like, I don't know. It seems a little bit much for me. But like you're saying, it's a Disney movie. I think every Disney movie, regardless of how good it may be, because I think this is a really good movie. Every live action Disney movie has a little bit of cheese in some way, you know, and that's just how it is. And
you gotta get those. You gotta bring it down a little bit for those low laughs as well as like the bigger ones. Yeah, and that's like you said, that's a Disney movie. So, what was your favorite scene sitting down on the rewatch of this movie, or maybe you've got the history with this? Maybe was there a favorite scene, whenever you first watched it versus now, or is it kind of the same?
I think I liked the scene when I was growing up, when they were clearly had the cards stacked against them when they were in that one game, and they're like the officials are just calling bogus calls on him and stuff like that just to get him to lose. And I liked seeing them kind of come back and win. And I still like that scene. I like when Coach, it's not Denzel's
Yost?
Character. Is it Yo? Yeah. When he comes up to the official and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, and I don't care if I go down with you. I'm gonna go to the papers on this. And then it like kind of stops. But so I like that scene growing up, but rewatching it, I really like the whole time where they're at camp and they start bonding with each other and getting to know each other, and those race barriers kind of break down, it's I liked that quite a bit.
All right, I get that. I like anytime Denzel was on screen, and well, specifically. Because Denzel's great. I love Denzel and everything I've seen him in.
Fantastic.
There's no question about that, and we haven't even begun to touch on that. But anytime, especially whenever he would take the boys down a peg, like they're getting a little, like there's that scene where he first walks in and Donald Faison is like just smiling and everything, and he's like, "What's funny? Why are you smiling?" And he just kind of takes him down a little bit. Or whenever he first gets introduced to Jerry and he's like, he gets him to call him daddy, before they get on the bus. That was fantastic. It was great. Like Denzel, like he's got that way. And then, and whenever he was on the sidelines watching the game, and he's got that like 1,000-yard stare watching that game, and just like that intimidation factor that he brings. That's fantastic. Oh man.
He does everything, like like you're saying, every role he's in, like he just owns that role, and that was maybe the best thing about this movie. I think is his acting in it, and just I can't really put my finger on it, but it's how he portrays the character and like all the highs and lows of everything, and dealing with these kids, and I don't know, it's just really good.
And and I gotta say, and the other his I guess first co-star, Will Patton, the guy that plays Yost. Right around this time, he was in a lot of stuff. He was popping up in things like the thing I remember most for is Gone in 60 Seconds. He was like his buddy in that movie.
I remember him from the Mothman Prophecies.
Okay.
What I think about, but yeah. But
like, he's always like, this is, I think, the most starring I've ever seen him in a movie. Everything else, he's been really just kind of like a third or fourth string character. And I can kind of see it just because, like, in this role, he's a little heavy-handed in some spots. Like, whenever he's, I don't know, it's just like the way he kind of tries to get serious with the character. It kind of, it's always played the same. And I can see where he just doesn't have that range. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He's got like a very specific skill set that he plays right. But anytime he's put in a position where he can have that, he can explore that a little bit, explore a character or whatever. He stays within that range. He kind of plays it safe as an actor. But, you know, I still enjoy him in things. Yeah. It's just, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to see him, or we haven't seen him do more, I should say. But, yeah, you got Denzel in there, and he's really carrying the whole movie.
Yeah, yeah.
You could put anybody else in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about the music in this?
Yes, that. Oh my god,
great soundtrack.
Great music throughout this whole movie. This was a classic, just like 70s soul and rock. I mean, I would not be surprised if this was the inspiration for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. The soundtrack right here.
Yeah.
Because it just like, it would fit perfectly. Every song would fit perfectly on that soundtrack. Yeah. This is a great one.
I had the soundtrack when I was I would listen to it quite a bit. It was
That's what we talked about before. This is one of those soundtracks that you get because you get that great compilation of songs, and you don't have to like switch out discs or collect 12 different albums because they're all right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Good soundtracks are just not a thing anymore. I mean, other than Guardians of the Galaxy, I can't think of a good soundtrack, a movie with a great soundtrack like that. Not a good score. I'm talking like they took classic songs and compiled them together specifically for the movie. Like I said, since Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think in the last 20 years I've seen one worth noting.
I mean, Guardians is just, it's that is like
it's part of the character. You couldn't do the movie without it.
It is, yeah. It's like they're putting on a clinic of how to compile a soundtrack for
it's
for a
masterclass.
movie. Yeah. The only other one I can think of that would be in the same ballpark as these two movies would be. I don't know if you've ever watched Garden State. But
yes,
that has a great soundtrack too. It's really. I was listening to that on the way home the other day. So
yeah, that's a great one. That's one that needs to go on the list if it's not. I think that might be on our list. I can't remember. But man, Speaking of, I mean, like we're talking about all these different actors that have had great runs. Like you got Donald Faison in here. He's probably coming up towards the end of his like 90s run where he was in like all these different shows, like I think he was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and there was something else I can't remember what it was, and he did like the Clueless movie, and he was just kind of popping up here and there, and then right after this Scrubs happens, and he's doing that for a while, and still he's in things popping up for the past 10 years or whatever since Scrubs ended. I was looking at his IMDb. He has more acting credits on IMDb than Hurst and the Goose combined.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
And by the way, I think at this point we should start calling Ryan Gosling the Goose. Because he's grown up.
Yeah.
It's a dad joke. I just had to get it in there.
Yeah.
But, and seriously, Ryan Gosling, how old do you think he is?
41.
See, if I had to guess, I would have said he was probably your age, maybe a year or two older.
Okay.
He's older than me.
Okay.
He was born in 1980, and that breaks my brain.
It's a little older than you.
It's a little older, but not terrible. I mean, but does that make him Gen X, or is he still millennial? Like I can't remember what the cutoff is.
You know what?
Somewhere in the 80.
He's so good. Like. And not necessarily, I mean, this movie, he is what he is, but just in general, like the last several years, he's just had. I don't know, I love watching him and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I think he's having his right now. Ryan Gosling is having his late 90s Brad Pitt era, where he starts transitioning from being the eye candy for the girls to being the guy that everybody wants to hang out with.
Yeah.
And I think he's in that. He's in that that Brad Pitt era where he's or George Clooney or whoever
Sure, yeah.
you want to compare it to. But
Insert person here.
Yeah, he's making that transition.
Yeah,
and he's great to watch. A lot of fun to be in a movie, and then he's got like more. I don't want to say serious, but like fandom based movies like Blade Runner 2049 he was in. So he's between that and Barbie, I mean, he's got the world on a string.
yeah, he does. Yeah.
So who was probably your favorite character in this movie?
Well, I mean, you gotta say Denzel, but if I have to take
other than Denzel.
Yeah, if I've got to take Denzel out of it, it's probably why can't I think of his name? Gary's friend.
What do they call him?
I can't remember now. I just watched the movie.
Was it Ray? Ray?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
How
can he be my favorite character if I can't think of his name?
Well, what made him your favorite?
And I don't know. I liked the way that I felt like so he was exactly Gary, and they just happened to be
peas in a pod.
Yeah, they just happened to be black and white, and I feel like they both grew. Like you can't not like Gary, and they both just kind of grew together.
I thought you were talking about whenever he's being called Jerry
Lewis and
the other guy. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the other guy there.
No.
You're talking about what's his name?
Yeah. Why can't I? Julius.
Is
it Julius?
Yes. Julius. Yeah, Wood Harris. Julius.
Yeah. I liked him quite a bit because I think that he's one of the ones that you really got to know more than you had a lot of characters, but he was one that had a lot more character development. Like Gary had a lot of character development. The two of them
you watched develop along kind of this. They kind of put them on similar parallel, I should say, paths as far as like the movie's concerned, and you kind of got to. They gave an avatar in the movie that way for both sides of the audience that are watching this to have a lens to peek through. I feel like, and he was great. Yeah, he was very man. Whenever Gary's in the hospital and he goes over and the mom's just like losing it. She's like, the only person he wants to see is you. Oh man, that was tough.
Yeah. She's like, he can't see you upset. You have to be strong for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, okay. But speaking of that, like when they're in there and like the team's in there and they're talking with Gary, and he's like talking about football, and Yost is like, I don't think we need to be talking about football right now. And he's like, I'm paralyzed, coach. I'm not dead. Let's talk about
We're going to have this conversation.
Yeah. So who was your favorite character?
For me, I liked, I think Sunshine was probably one of my favorite characters.
Oh, Sunshine.
Sunshine was great.
Great nickname. Great nickname.
Good nickname. He was very hard to read. Like, he was deceptively hard to read, but like in that good way. Like, when he first came up, they're like, oh, he's just a hippie. And he was like, and like, he throws that football like 100 yards, 50 yards, 100 yards, something like that, and just like nails the other guy in the back of the head. That was great. It was just a nice, like, and he was very like, he wasn't showboaty. He was very like kind of reserved and a little quieter. Didn't feel the need to show off necessarily. But like, or whenever they're getting trouble from that other team, and And then he's like, all right, next time just let the guy through.
Yeah.
And then, they let that pass rusher through or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just, like, spins around and, like, throws him over his back.
Yeah.
And the guy's just, like, dazed, like, oh, my God, what happened? Yeah. That was great.
The coach is like, that's a personal foul
Yeah,
or
he's
whatever.
a personal foul. He's like, personal foul on the quarterback?
On a quarterback? Yeah.
That's great.
Gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. That was fantastic.
All the ladies loved him too. Like they would see him out there doing his yoga and or whatever, Tai Chi or whatever he was doing.
Tai Chi, I think is what it was.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, he's so dreamy." I thought it was really funny when they were accusing him of like being gay, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And so he's just like, all right, I'm going to play along with this. Yeah. He goes up to Gary and he's like, you know what I want.
That was great.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good. Yeah. I also liked, no, I can't think of his name. He was in stuff like Butterfly Effect. And
Ethan Suplee?
Yes. He was great. Yeah.
Yes,
he was
I always liked him
just very
too.
jovial. And,
Have you seen him recently?
No.
Oh man, you gotta look him up. He looks like a football player now. Like he's
Does
jacked.
he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like he's gotten into shape. He looks fantastic, and he's still out there doing movies and stuff like that. But I was watching like an interview with him and everything, and he was talking about it was a couple of years ago, whenever he started getting in shape, and he was talking about how he was just in like a really bad place mentally early on in his career, and like a lot of like the casting directors would want like an overweight guy, and they would look for him, and then whenever he'd start to lose weight, he was saying like I was starting to lose roles because I was no longer the morbidly obese overweight guy, and so then it would be depressing, and then I put the weight back on, and then suddenly I was getting the roles, and then like drugs and alcohol and everything were involved, and like he just was like he had like these major mental struggles or mental health struggles, but then like he kind of figured his way out and found help and support and started getting in touch with like all the right people and making the right friends type of thing, and he's just really like got it on straight now and is just nailing it. And it's a really good, like if you get the chance, you should check out his story, because he's just got a great story, and it's just really inspiring. It's really inspiring. But yeah, I've always enjoyed seeing him in anything he's done. He's another one of those actors. It's just like you see him on the marquee and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy at least his performance. I know that much. Yeah. Like you said, Butterfly Effect, and Mallrats was another one.
Oh yeah, he was in Mallrats. Yeah,
he was in Mallrats, or what was My Name Is Earl? My Name Is Earl was fantastic.
Oh, was he in that? I don't remember. Okay.
Yeah, he was the brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I always enjoyed him in those. Well, what other thoughts do you have for the movie?
The mama jokes. When Ethan, what'd you say his last name was?
Ethan Suplee?
Suplee. He walks through and he's like, oh, my back hurts. Like, oh, man, what's going on? He's like, I just got done giving your mom a piggyback ride. She's twice the size I am.
That was great.
Just out of nowhere.
I like how the whole time that, like, whenever all that first starts, it starts with, what's his name? We were just talking about him. I can't remember his name. Julius. Yeah, making that barb towards Gary about like his mom. And Gary's like, "What'd you say about my mom?" And he starts getting all like worked up, and the other guy's like, "Hang on." And then like they just start exchanging him, and he starts catching on. He's like, "Oh, I get what y'all are doing now. I get it. All right."
Yes. Yeah.
That was kind of neat. That was neat to watch that like wash over him.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
And the other thing I was thinking about as I was watching this is who is watching Cheryl while they're at the camp?
She's there with them.
She's there, but who's watching her? Like
It's 1970. Nobody's watching her. She's just running.
That's true, I guess.
She's past the age of 6. She can read, write, and walk. She's fine.
Yeah. Like when they go on that 3 a.m. run, which
she got
I'd
sleep
be
in.
hitchhiking home. If there ain't no way I'd be able to do that 3 a.m. run. Yeah. But I'm like, where's she at during, like, she just by herself in this dorm room? What's she?
Yeah.
I guess she's probably asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, she got sleep in. Yeah. Oh, she's like going over. She wakes up. She's going over plays. She's watching film footage. She's coming up with like strategies. Calculating points and doing all that kind of stuff. Maybe making some phone calls to other teams, looking at trades or scouting for the
right.
college games.
Right.
She's got it out there. She's handling business.
Yeah.
I know it said at the end of the movie what she actually went off and started doing, but I can't remember if she stayed connected with football or not.
Yeah.
I was watching, what was their names? I watched this movie the other day and I cannot remember a single player or a single actor's name or character's name, other than maybe the top 4 characters.
There was just so many of them. I think is why it's hard to, because it was a pretty big cast.
It was a big cast, and then there were some times where like they would mention their name like once or twice, and I can't remember them.
Yeah,
but I mean, I was watching this movie, and I was taking notes, like I always do, trying to stay diligent with that, and I got about, let me see here. So I got the notes on the opening reminding me of Varsity Blues. I got notes on really enjoying checking out. No. Precocious Haley Panettiere really leaning into the character.
Checking out. Now I see what no.
I stumbled over words. I put a young Panettiere bringing it. Anyways. And then about how it's one of those movies that has like a real cast of who's. And then I just stopped taking notes at that point. Because I was just watching the movie.
Yep.
I was really just like, I don't know, invested in this story and these characters and everything. And it was just... I just enjoyed it that much. But I can't, for the life of me, remember the names of certain characters. But there was a pair of characters, another, besides Julius and Jerry. I think it was it Reverend? And one of the white actors, I can't remember who his best friend was. It wasn't Ethan Suplee or Ryan Gosling. It was somebody, and it wasn't Sunshine. It was like one of those characters that's just like, I've never really seen him in anything else before. But it's just going to drive me nuts. I can't remember these 2 characters' names, and it's going to really kill the story, but I'm going to tell it anyways.
That's fine.
They were, so at the end, towards the end of the movie, they were like best friends. And they were talking about how they're going to go off and play football together and then get houses in the same town so they can grow old hanging out together talking about football or something like that. Anyways.
that was Gary and Julius. So.
No, because Gary dies.
This is before he dies. This is when he's in the...
Oh, was it them too?
That's when he's in the bed and like after Julius comes in to see him. We're going to get old and we're going to get fat.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm conflating it with another one. Or I remembered it like that. Anyways, there's another pair of them.
Sure.
I can't remember their names.
Sorry, I didn't mean to just destroy your story.
No. This, anybody else out there listening would probably be yelling the same thing at me right now. Yeah. But, anyways, I can't remember who they were. They were kind of like... They were too. They weren't the first, second, or even third tier of players as far as like actors that you really like you saw on the show. But anyway, so there's two of them, and they're really good friends. They're really close friends, and they hung out a lot and were paired off. Oh, I think it was the who was the one where it was right after Gettysburg, and they got done with the run, and the one character, I can't remember if it was Rev or Blue, and then whoever he was buddied up with. The guy that he was buddied up with, the white guy, said something like, "All right, just give me some facts or some information about you."
That was I think Ray was the guy's. That was Gary's friend.
Okay.
Yes. That was just a real tool through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they end up becoming like best friends?
No, not that one.
Oh,
because
man.
No.
See, the problem's only seeing the movie one time.
I know what you're talking about. And our audience is screaming right now. You're
making for a great podcast.
Gary says that to Julius at the time. That's before they start like really getting close.
That's kind of like what initializes their bonding. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just tell me a few things so we can get this over with.
All right, I'll tell you a few things. So anyways, there was another pair of them. I can't remember which pair. I'm not even going to try and remember them or lead to who they are. And I was, whenever I'm researching for this coming episode, because I watched the movie like 3 days ago. And then today I had a little bit of free time, so I go on YouTube and I start looking up like Remember the Titans and maybe some behind the scenes stuff or stuff about like how it compares to what really happened and things like that. And a few years ago there was an interview on NBC. What's their morning show? Today Show?
I think so.
Greg, one of their top anchors, he was interviewing two of the players from that team, that first team, and talking to them about the movie. And it was those two guys that I can't remember the name of who were best friends by the end of the movie. And it was the two of them sitting down talking about how like they've continued to be friends and talking about the legacy of the movie and all this stuff. And I thought it was just really interesting that they continued to be friends even like to this day. And one of them, the black guy, ended up becoming the first black chief of police for the town recently, which I thought was an interesting little fun fact. I don't know how fun it is, and I can't remember their names or anything like that. This is, like I said, this problem with this is the only time I've watched the movie, so I can't remember anybody's names.
Yeah,
I can't even remember what Denzel's character's name was now that I think about it. I got Yost. That's about it. It's just because it was a weird little name.
Yeah.
It kind of sounded like toast.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
And everybody else was, I didn't know their names. It was Ryan Hurst and Donald Faison and Ethan Suplee and Will Harris. And I just didn't even remember bothering anybody's names because I just remembered them as actors.
But you did enjoy the movie, though.
I did enjoy the movie, but I did not remember any of the Titans.
Yeah. Yes. Remember the Titans. I'm sorry.
I can't remember the Titans.
I didn't remember them. Oh, no, that'll be the title of this episode. We didn't remember the Titans. Oh man.
Well, I got. I think that's all my final thoughts on this this movie. I mean, I enjoyed it. I did. I really enjoyed it. I don't know that I'll go back and watch it a whole lot, but it was a fun movie. It was a good like. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. It's or don't go see it. You can watch it on Disney Plus or
it's on Disney Plus,
Hulu, or I don't know where else they're streaming it at, but or go hang out in Ryan's neighborhood and walk the garage sales and pick it up on DVD for $1.
Yeah, for $1. $1 bill. Yeah, Yeah, it's good. I don't know, like, I don't know. I will not watch it like I did when I was in middle school. It hits differently now. I think when I was in middle school, it was more like, you know, oh, this is like football, and this is what high school is going to be like, sort of, without the segregation, and you know what I mean. But like, you know, you have a lot different view on life when you're that age than you do when you get older.
90s had a lot of that, though. A lot of like, we spent a lot of time in the 90s movies talking, or not talking about, but and not in a bad way, but just processing segregation, civil rights, and coming to terms with how that was handled, and all that. And that was definitely like a, man, if the 2010s were the Marvel era, the 90s were the civil rights era for movies, because there was a lot of movies dealing with civil rights. I felt like
there was it was, I mean, I think that's why I have such a fondness for movies that take place in like the 60s and the early 70s, because the 90s had so many of those movies. Like, even if, I mean, you know, like, even ones that weren't dealing with, you know, racial injustices and things like that, there was just like a lot of, like, Apollo 13, like, I think Born on the 4th of July came out around then. And, you know, like, there's all these movies. Like, I think it was just because, you know, we really, really weren't that far removed from that time period.
Yeah. Well, it's that 20-year factor. Like, it's like something about like pop culture references back 20 years typically. And so like the 90s would have been referencing the 70s pretty heavily, whereas like now we're in like the 2020s and we're starting to reference like the 2000s pretty heavily. And we're going to start seeing all that like kind of coming back around again.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't see, you know, the bubble aesthetic of things come back around. I do not miss that, or that fake leather plastic stuff that they put on everything that just melted and turned to goo.
Yes.
I can do without that.
Yeah. There was some stuff I could do without from that. Well, there's a lot of stuff. The emo haircuts that kind of just
that's still here. Yeah. Like,
is it?
Your nephew's got one going on right now. He's rocking some long unkempt hair. I mean, it doesn't go down in front of his face. Like it drives him nuts whenever it does, but it's definitely like he's got an emo look going for sure.
Oh, buddy.
Or and you got to look this one up because it's absolutely hilarious. But there's something called like the ice cream cone head or the ice cream scoop, and it's from like boys wearing ball caps. Okay. And then their hair sticks out. Like, they don't, like, pull their hair back and then put the cap on. So, like, it just, like, swoops out. And then they take the cap off, and it still does that. And it just looks like somebody scooped an like a scoop of ice cream and set it down on their head.
I've seen that. I didn't know it had a name.
Yeah.
That's great.
And there's, there's some pretty extreme versions of it, which are just hilarious.
Yeah. Well, next week, we are going to go back to video games, and you know, we just ended our kind of our football little mini series.
That's right.
We like football. We like games. We like movies. We like football. We like music. A little bit of everything. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're going to go back to some video games, and we are going to be talking about one of my favorites, Metal Gear Solid. For the PlayStation 1.
One of my favorites, too. Oh
man. Yeah.
That's got to be in the top 5.
Oh, it is an incredible game. Yeah. And I don't want to waste conversation on it on this episode, but yeah, it's hard not to. It's hard.
Be ready for a long one next week,
folks. Yes. Yep.
We're in for it.
Yeah. So go and if you've got time, go play through it again. Yeah. If not, you know, kind of watch some recap. Yeah, it's not a terribly long game. Watch some recaps or something on it, and yeah, hear what we got to say and all that. So with that, we've reached another checkpoint. Remember, sharing is caring. Reviews help a lot. We appreciate your reviews, your shares, and all that. Until next time, be kind and rewind.
See you all around.
This podcast takes tokens is a Clay Street production.
Well, all right. At the beginning of the episode, I brought up a icebreaker question. A would you rather? And I will rephrase that for you now. Would you rather be the star player for a team that always loses, or notoriously ride the bench needlessly for a team that always wins?
I would rather... I'd rather be the star, because if you're a star, there's potential for you to be traded.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. As I was reading the question the second time, I thought I put a caveat on the first one that you're notorious for riding the bench, like everybody knows it. I should have had a caveat on the first one for you must stay on that team. But I suppose if you're traded, then you're no longer playing the star player for a team that always loses. So
maybe not. But okay, if you would leave that caveat on there, I would still do the star player, because you could still get endorsements.
All right. So the deals
maybe
are
not
lucrative.
a lot of endorsements because you're not winning. But I mean, like, even Zach Wilson got endorsements with Bose headphones. Yeah, when he was playing terribly for the Jets.
I mean, they put anybody on a Wheaties cover nowadays. Even that.
Oh yeah.
Australian breakdancer, I heard.
Yeah. That's. Did you see that?
I did.
Oh man, people! If you have not seen this, you need to go look up the Australian breakdancer from the Olympics this year. It is a sight to behold.
Well, I think at this point they'll be about 4 weeks removed from it, but yeah. If you haven't seen it by now.
Yeah. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's bad.
She got a score of 0.
0.
That's 0.
That's crazy. It's so bad that they're not doing breakdancing next time.
They are not. They are not. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was shocked to find out that they did breakdancing in the Olympics to begin with.
I had no idea. Yeah. I was watching it. I was like, and I was watching that live.
Oh, okay.
But I turned it off before
the women's.
She got on there. Yeah. If I would have known that was coming, I would have kept watching. But I remember we were like, I don't know, we were somewhere, and I look over at Mindy and I'm like, they have breakdancing?
Yeah.
And she's like, I guess they do. It's like, when did this start? And then, like, I don't know what we were doing. We were able to change the channel. So, but I don't remember where we were at. Like maybe a restaurant or something, and we had sometimes they'll give you the remote for the TV or whatever.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember I saw it like a day or two before they talked about it on the news. They were like, and then we watch nightly news, and I think it was on there, and they mentioned, coming up in the Olympics we have breakdancing. It's like the first year for it or whatever, it was it was a trivia question because we play. Roku has a weekly trivia thing.
Oh yeah.
And you can play it, and it's on like current events and stuff or like what's on TV and everything. And that was one of the trivia questions, like what new sport has been introduced to the Olympics, and we guessed everything but breakdancing. We're like, oh my god, it's breakdancing, really?
Yeah.
And we were just, and I'm like, how do they score breakdancing? Like, how do you score that reliably or fairly? Like, it's so objective. Like, it's just subjective. I just can't. Anyway, so breakdancing is a thing. Go figure.
Yeah.
Well, not so much anymore, but yeah.
So, what would you do? Which of the ones would you pick?
Well, I came up with the question. I don't think I have to pick one, right? Yeah, I think I'm with you, but my ego couldn't allow me to be the one riding the bench. I'd have to be the star player.
That's the thing. Like, if you're riding the bench, like, I could see the pros of that. Like, okay, I'm getting paid, even if you are paid a
even
low
the water
paid
boy gets
player
paid decent.
oh yeah. if you're a player in the NFL, you are going to be making enough money to live comfortably on. Like,
as long
you
as
may
you
not
don't
be
blow
making.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You may not be making millions and millions of dollars, but if they're paying you, $300,000 a season to be a backup, like, sure,
That's not bad. Yeah.
no, I get, I may get to play once in a while, but I don't
Lots of travel.
run the risk of
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Yeah, I don't run the risk of that. And by the way, I am getting Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
For not real. It's like getting an A on a group project that you did nothing on.
Without cheating.
That's right. Yeah. So maybe I would change my answer, I guess.
Oh, you talked yourself out of it now. So now you're team bench.
I think because I'm not a man that I don't need, $200 million house. Like,
Nah,
I
that's
could
true.
just, give me just enough space to be able to have a place for my things.
Yeah.
Give me a reliable
Stretch out.
vehicle and just enough money to be able to go and do things with my family and have and eat and have a comfortable life. And I could do that for $300,000 a year, just sit on the bench.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
And depending on what team you're playing for, where you're living, that could swing pretty wide as far as comfort concerns. If you're playing in New York, you're playing for the Giants, that might not swing as far as if you're playing, say, I don't know, Georgia or Atlanta or whatever, or I don't know, maybe Denver or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, Denver might be a little pricey.
Yeah, Denver might be.
Kansas City, you could just live right outside. You could probably live where you're living now and be comfortable.
I could.
Yeah, it's not that long of a drive.
No, you'll be all right.
Get an apartment in the city for the regular season, and then
Yeah. So let us know what you think.
Yeah.
What your answer would be to that. We'd love to hear you.
Put it in the comments.
From you. Yeah, leave in the comments. You can email us at thispodcasttakestokens@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear what you have to say. Yeah. Even if it's not related to the question. If you just want to tell us how your day was, throw it on there.
Or those characters I was trying to remember earlier, throw those out there. That's fine too. I'm okay being wrong.
In all caps. Scream them. Yes.
I mean, I do need to be the star player. I like that for my ego, but I'm okay being wrong, and I'm okay being told that too. So.
That's right. So speaking of comments, we had a couple comments from our Indiana Jones episode.
Excellent. That came out just recently.
Bringing that one, it came out just recently, and it's good to hear from some people. Nathan Moore. These are all from our YouTube channel. Nathan Morgan 9205 said, "Oh my gosh, guys, where did Indy pick up his skills? Why haven't you seen the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles? Because I didn't know they existed."
I did. Yeah, I knew they existed, but I have not heard the best things about it.
Okay.
And I think it only ran for like 2 seasons. So, I mean, especially like an early 90s show, drama type show, I'm not going out of my way to watch that. Like I don't imagine it's going to be must-see TV for me. So, I mean, maybe I need to. Maybe I'm wrong, and perhaps I am. Firefly was 1 season, and that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I could be wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong. I think I'm gonna go check out a recap on YouTube and see what's what, and if maybe it's worth checking out. And if it is, I'll check it out, and that might be one of our "How did I miss this?" things on a future episode.
We're always telling people, like, if you got ideas, send them to us. Well, Nathan clearly is, he likes Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, so maybe we will look into that a little bit and if we find some enjoyment out of it, maybe we can do a little something on it. So
That's right.
But yeah, Nathan, thanks for the comment there.
Thanks.
David McKay, I think, if I'm butchering that, I'm sorry. 752. In response, I think, to the question that we had, which was, what was it? It was, if you could have any one item from the movie.
That's right.
What would it be? He said the hat, of course. Of course! Who wouldn't want that hat?
That's a nice hat. That's a, you know, I mean, fedora. I feel like you could just go down to the fedora. What is it? Local haberdashery and pick yourself a fedora, right?
But would it look as good as Indies? Like
That's true.
Just, I don't know. There's something about it. Yeah.
I think, you know, Spirit Halloween. It's that time of year. They're starting to open them up. I bet they have them.
Just pop up those internet memes with all the Spirit of Halloweens. I love those. Never fail to make me laugh every year. Yeah. So those are the two of the comments that we had. We appreciate your comments. Love to read some more. If you send us some, or send them on the like I said, on the email them to us, or put them on either of the any of the platforms.
Yeah. Two of them. Spotify and YouTube are the only two that allow for comments. So
there we go.
If you're listening on Pocket Cast or Apple, or Apple Podcast doesn't allow for commenting. Well, actually,
they have
Apple
reviews.
Podcast. Yeah, that's true. You can leave a review. Leave a review.
Yeah, we'll read your review. Yeah.
We'll read a review. I gotta log on to Apple and look and see if I have a review. I don't own an Apple device, so I'd have to figure out how to get into their ecosystem from a PC. That'll be interesting.
I'm the Apple guy. He's the other guy. So I can look on there and see.
Good.
Yeah.
You can send it to me in a green text bubble.
Yes. Yes. I know. There's all kinds of issues communicating between the two of those things. But anyway, that's the way the world works. And here we are. We're still brothers, and we're still friends. So that's how it goes.
It's the modern civil war, Apple versus Android.
That's right. Anyway, it's been good talking to you all. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for hanging out with us.